Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into the world of a truly unique musician, James Carter.
Yeah, he's someone special.
We're framing him not just, as a great player, but maybe as something more, like a living history of jazz itself.
That's a good way to put it, because when you really look at his career, listen to what he does, it's more than just being a phenomenal saxophonist.
Right.
The thing we really need to get into is how he pulled off something kind of wild for his generation. He didn't just stick to one thing, not just hard bop or fusion or, free jazz.
He did it all.
He seemed to master and then blend all of it into this one really dynamic voice. That's the core of it.
That's the claim, yeah. This incredible scope, the technical fireworks, and the deep historical knowledge all rolled into one. So our mission today, for you listening, is to unpack how he did that. How does a musician born in 1969 manage to sound like he's lived through every era of jazz woodwind playing, from Dixieland onwards?
Well, it has to start with the tools, right? His technical arsenal. The sheer number of instruments he plays at such a high level. That's where the virtuoso tag really sticks.
Okay, let's paint that picture. Because just saying he plays lots of instruments doesn't quite capture it. We're talking the whole saxophone family first. Soprano, alto, tenor, and baritone.
Right.
Now, for someone listening who maybe isn't deep into woodwinds, why is mastering that whole range such a big deal?
Well, because they're fundamentally different beasts to play, seriously. Moving between them means changing basically everything, your breath support, how you form your mouth, the embouchure, keeping it in tune.
It's not just different fingerings, then.
Oh, not at all. The soprano, it's tiny, right? Super tricky to control the pitch. Needs a really tight, focused approach.
Okay.
And you jump to the baritone. It's huge. Needs massive lungs, incredible grip control. Even just the physical feel of the keys under your fingers is completely different. So to switch between all four, seamlessly, that means instantly adapting his whole physical approach. Muscles, air column, everything.
And it doesn't even stop with the saxophones.
Yeah.
He plays flutes, too, and crucially, clarinets, especially the bass clarinet, where he has a serious reputation. You've mentioned before that the bass clarinet is kind of seen as a beast. Why? What makes that one so tough?
It really is. It just occupies this unique sonic space, kind of reedy, dark, but beautiful too. In jazz history, it's always been a bit niche, You think of giants like Eric Dolphy, maybe Harry Carney with Ellington.
Right, not as common as tenor sax.
Exactly, and technically the fingering's different from sax, and it has these notoriously unstable bits where the sound can crack, the register breaks.
Okay.
It produces this huge, dark sound that's kind of perfect for bridging, say, modern classical ideas and really aggressive searching jazz. So for Carter to excel on that, it shows he's engaging directly with the really demanding avant-garde side of things. Not just playing smooth lines.
That dedication, that willingness to tackle the difficult stuff, it tells you something about his discipline right from the start. Where did that come from?
Straight out of Detroit, Michigan. Born there in 1969. Detroit's jazz scene is, sometimes overlooked, but incredibly rich. It often had this strong sense of community mentorship, maybe more than New York back then.
And he had good teachers.
Oh, yeah. He studied under Donald Washington, who was a really key figure there. Very rigorous training from early on.
And you could see it paid off quick. The guy was basically a prodigy, touring Scandinavia at 16.
Yeah, 1985 with the International Jazz Band. And get this, he was also the youngest faculty member ever at the Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp around that time.
That's incredible.
So that kind of early, intense experience, it didn't just give him the technique, the chops, it gave him the confidence, The confidence to really engage with the jazz language and pretty soon to start pushing its boundaries.
He wasn't just learning how to play scales.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was already thinking about what he wanted to say with the horn.
And that focus, that energy, it leads right into this pivotal moment in his career. It's almost like jazz folklore. The story with Lester Bowie.
Oh, yeah, that's a great one. So this is 1988, still in Detroit. Carter's still pretty much a local phenomenon.
Right.
And he gets this last-minute call, really last minute, to fill in on a gig with the legendary trumpeter Lester Bowie.
The Avant-Garde legend, Lester Bowie. That must have been terrifying.
Absolutely. A total trial by fire. Bowie's music was known for being challenging, experimental.
But Carter didn't just, survive the gig.
He did more than survive. He apparently blew Bowie away.
Yeah.
And that single performance, that chance encounter,
What?
an invitation, joined Bowie's quintet in New York City.
Wow. So that was the leap.
That was the leap. Around 1990, he makes the move. That Detroit discipline basically launched him straight onto the international scene.
And being with Bowie immediately put him in a certain circle, right?
Yeah.
Players who respected history but were also pushing things forward.
Precisely. And his profile just kept rising, even outside of, hardcore jazz circles. He got a fair bit of mainstream attention playing Ben Webster in Robert Altman's movie Kansas City.
In 1996, yeah. I remember that. He had to nail that specific Webster sound, that breathy vintage tenor vibe.
He did, and that ability to capture a specific historical sound, that's absolutely key to understanding him.
It really points to his versatility. Just look at who he played with as a sideman. The list of legends who wanted him on their records. It says it all.
It does. It's not just that he was around. It's that he could deliver exactly the right sound, the right feel for almost any context.
Give us some examples. The range is pretty wild.
Okay, so you've got Wynton Marsalis, kind of the academic traditionalist wing, right? Then you have the World Saxophone Quartet, Julius Hemphill, total innovators, boundary pushers.
Big difference there.
Huge. And then throw in the Mingus Big Band, that high-energy, complex post-bop sound machine. He recorded and played with all of them. D.D. Bridgewater, Cyrus Chestnut, the list goes on.
So playing with Marsalis one day, maybe Julius Hemphill the next, that diversity is just staggering.
It really is. It shows he's not just a master of one idiom. He's like a translator between jazz eras.
Okay, but here's a question. If he's constantly shifting gears like that, playing super traditional with Wynton, then way out there with Bowie or Hemphill, then the power of Mingus, isn't there a danger he just becomes like a really, really good mimic? Where's the original James Carter voice and all that?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And I think the originality comes from the way he connects things, the speed and the unexpectedness of the links he makes.
How so?
He's not just replaying licks from the past. Say he takes a standard hard bop tune. The phrasing might have that, 50s rhythmic drive, but then the tone he uses, maybe the attack, or maybe switching to the bass clarinet's darker sound, suddenly brings in textures from free jazz or something totally contemporary.
Ah, okay, so he's using the historical vocabulary.
You speak his own modern dialect, yeah, that's the synthesis.
Got it. That makes sense. And that leads us nicely into his own style, his work as a leader. And something really interesting comes up here. His connection to the actual physical instruments.
Exactly. Beyond just playing them incredibly well, he's known as a serious authority on vintage saxophones. He collects them.
So he really understands the hardware.
Deeply. He gets that these aren't just generic tools. They're like sonic artifacts. Each old horn carries the sound, the character of the time it was made. That physical connection, you can really hear how it informs his playing.
And while he plays everything, there's one horn where his dominance is really undeniable, according to the awards anyway.
Yeah, the baritone sax. He's won the downbeat critics and readers pools for baritone saxophone again and again.
Which is interesting, because the baritone often plays more of a supporting role, doesn't it?
Traditionally, yes. Think of Harry Carney anchoring the Ellington Band. Carter can absolutely bring that huge foundational sound, that weight and darkness. But then, in the next phrase, he'll just erupt with these explosive, technically dazzling modern lines that, Carney wouldn't have even dreamed of. That contrast is his signature. It's the synthesis in action.
You can really hear that synthesis in his own albums as a leader. Let's maybe touch on a few key ones that show this range, rather than just listing titles. Where did he first make his mark as a leader?
His early stuff hit hard. JC on the Set, that was 94, it really announced his arrival. Just commanded attention, seemed way beyond his years.
Okay.
Then just 2 years later, Conversing with the Elders in 1996, that one really solidified his rep, showing him going toe-to-toe, respectfully but powerfully, with established masters.
And he wasn't afraid to step outside the usual jazz box either. There's that album with a family connection.
Chasing the Gypsy from 2000. Yeah, that's a fantastic record and a great example of his flexibility. He made it with his cousin, Regina Carter, who's an amazing violinist.
And the style is different.
Totally different. It was exploring gypsy jazz, specifically Django Reinhardt's influence. So he had to adopt this lighter, more lyrical approach sometimes, blending those Eastern European sounds with his deep American jazz feel. It works beautifully.
He also uses his own projects to kind of reinterpret history, right? Pay tribute.
Absolutely. Gardenias for Lady Day from 2003, that's a key one. It's his tribute to Billie Holiday.
An icon from decades before he was born.
Exactly. And what he does is take her classic material and apply his own massive technique and sort of modern sensibility to it. It creates this dialogue across time. It proves that even the most revered standards can sound totally contemporary, even aggressive in the right hands.
There are others too, like Jurassic Classics, The Real Quiet Storm, Laying in the Cut.
Yeah.
even a Live from Newport album more recently, a really rich discography.
Prolific, yeah, and diverse.
So stepping back from all the details, the names, the dates, what's the main takeaway for you, for the listener? What's the essence of James Carter's place in modern jazz?
I think James Carter embodies maybe the ultimate goal for a contemporary jazz musician, managing to preserve the tradition and push it forward at the same time.
That's a tough balancing act.
It is.
Yeah.
He achieved this really rare kind of virtuosity. It's not just the technical skill across all those instruments, which is mind-blowing on its own. It's coupling that with the intellectual grasp to synthesize the entire history of the music.
He doesn't have to pick a lane.
He is the highway. He embodies the whole arc, you know?
A living archive of sound, like we said at the start. Okay, that brings us to our final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. We talked about his deep knowledge, his collection of those vintage instruments, the actual old horns.
Right, the physical tools.
So here's the question. How might that intimate understanding, the actual feel, the weight, the resistance, the specific sound quirks of the instruments that made jazz history, how might that physically empower him to blend historical styles in a way someone playing only modern standardized horns just couldn't?
That's a fascinating question. Does knowing the tool give you deeper access to the spirit of the music made on it?
Maybe. Something to think about. So go explore. Put on JC on the set, then maybe Chasing the Gypsy, then Gardenias for Lady Day. Listen for how one man can contain so much musical history.